prominent role as a presidential candidate. During this meeting, Patty tells Kevin a story about an orphan.
And that baby is now in an orphanage. And it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna grow up, and it's gonna have difficulty attaching to people, and it's gonna have difficulty giving and accepting love. But Kevin, that is no longer a difficulty. It is a strength. It is a survival mechanism.
The orphan is Kevin, who has become alienated from his father and has lost any kind of connection to a transcendent ideal. In the midst of a civilization that seems to be collapsing around him, Kevin is in a kind of psycho-spiritual exile. The chorus of the Hebrew slaves from Verdi's opera Nabucco accompanies Kevin during his escapade into the unconscious. Nabucco is a story about the exile of the Jews from Jerusalem after they turned to excess, idolatry, and blasphemy. The chorus is a cry of hope from the Jews who aspire to be returned to the grace of God and to have their kingdom taken up once again after their many years of suffering. Powerful themes connect the cave woman, the Jews of the Old Testament, and Kevin with a thread that runs all the way down to the deepest parts of us. When simple language and material explanations fail to represent these archetypal themes adequately, they must be drawn to the surface, to consciousness, through narrative, symbolism, or with music.
In an instant, it became cosmically abundantly clear that you can lose anyone at any time. Our cave collapsed, Kevin.
Kevin is suffering, as is the rest of the world after the sudden departure, as are many people in the modern world. This disillusionment of our ideals and spiritual institutions, the faith we lose in ourselves and our families as our relationships devolve, our insignificant place in the seemingly infinite and uncaring universe, all contribute to the suffering caused by existence. These personal and transpersonal states of psychological exile are not new, but are part of the greater cosmic cycle. Kevin's father, who is high on God's tongue, instructs him to take Patty to a well and to throw her in. In this strange underworld of his unconscious, Kevin can now follow his father's cryptic instructions. Kevin meets Neil, Patty's cheating, verbally abusive husband, and strangles him to death, dispensing with another facet of his extramarital guilt. Finally, Kevin meets the child form of Patty Levin, who has been his spirit guide, tormentor, adversary, but is now seen as an innocent victim.
According to the ancient legend, the well formed a conduit between the world of the living and the spirit world. For centuries, people have made pilgrimages to the well to throw in whatever they want to unburden themselves of.
Kevin takes her to Jarden across the bridge to the orphan's well, and he pushes Patty in, ridding himself of the image of victimhood. Kevin climbs into the well after her, into the deepest, darkest place, into the conduit between worlds, and learns of how Patty was too afraid to leave her husband, even though she had more than enough money to go through with it. Patty was too afraid to face the world, too afraid to transform. Kevin says goodbye to Patty one last time and drowns her at the bottom of the well.